Hello people, how is everybody doing? I'm starting the stream 10 minutes early. For anyone who's watching the VOD, the catch up, this is, you can skip forward pretty much exactly, well, 7 minutes to see the start of the AMD stream. This won't be a clean stream, as you can tell, so I'll be chatting through it basically. But hello, how's everybody doing? I can't put this because you'll see you, so I'm gonna put it here next to the Twitch chat. So yeah, but yeah, how's everybody doing? How's things? Predictions, hopefully revolutionary. One last hurrah for AM4. Yeah, so AM4 is done for in the sense that it's this is the last chip that we will see on the AM4 platform, and then we will see AM5 next, basically. That's the expectation anyway, or that's what AMD laid out as their plan. So it'll be Zen 4 will be DDR5, PCI Gen 4 still, but and a new socket to match with that. Snacks ready for the launch? I've already had some. I've just got some tasty Seagate water. Hello, our gym lad. How you doing? I'm gonna move this one here, and the next one here. So I will have the stream audio, like the Zen stream audio, up and running once that is live. So yeah, will be interesting. So yeah, what is everybody's predictions? What do you think performance uplift will be like? What do you think? I saw a really good bingo card actually of all of the things that it could, like, there could be, and yeah, this could be interesting. But yeah, thoughts on backwards compatibility with previous chipsets. So I think the understanding is that it's going to be these chips will work with B550 and X570 guaranteed, and then some motherboards, some B450 boards will get backwards compatibility through potentially irreversible BIOS upgrades. It's going to be an interesting one, but yeah, that's that really. I should put my browser on full screen. I will when the stream starts. There's no current way to do that, so yeah, gotta wait for the stream to start. I want APUs. I'm honestly doubtful that will happen. I know that they're renaming it Ryzen 5000 to line up their product segments so that both mobile, desktop, and the APU lineup are all going to be the same sort of generation, but it's unlikely that we will see APUs today, as far as I'm aware. I haven't been pre-briefed on any of this. I'm seeing this for the first time. You are. I'm not under any NDAs, so whatever we see, we can talk about as much as you like. But that also means that it's entirely speculation, based on, what we see today. Zen 2 APUs are hen's teeth, so I'll be interested to see what they do there next year. Indeed, I mean, you're kind of right, Fabio, that the 4000 series APUs were pretty much a paper launch, and therefore it could be an interesting one to see if we get 5000 series APUs. But I'm also not overly hopeful. My expectation would be that there'll be a new Ryzen 9, a new Ryzen 7, and a new Ryzen 5, and that's probably what we'll get. And then we'll get a coming out in November, coming out in January for the highest end one, potentially, like they did last time, and potentially even the time before that. Or they could just dump it all out. I'd be surprised if we see a full spread of chips, but hey, we'll see, I guess. I'm expecting 8-core Ryzen 7, maybe tickling the high 4-point-something gigahertz, good uplift in IPC. That's fair. We have seen a leak where one of the new Ryzen 5 chips was tickling upwards of 5 gigahertz, but yeah, it'll be interesting, and hopefully a better launch than Nvidia. We can definitely hope that there is a there is some stock available when they do actually come to launch. That would be that'd be great. I think we'll just get top of the line chips today. Yeah, I think what they'll do is the same as they did last time, which is the 12 core, an 8 core, and a 6 core, and then they'll go from there. I don't think that they would leave the Ryzen 5s completely out to dry, but we'll see in a few minutes. I do expect that it will be probably a few minutes before we get into any of the new chips. I think it'll be kind of a preamble first, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll order one to go with my 3090. Nice. I want a 10-core CPU. Like, it's technically possible, although I suspect that it's probably not the way that their SoCs are designed. It's unusual to have 5 cores in each CCX. So, well, yeah, the other one is. You think these will be a good generational jump? I hope so. I definitely hope so. It'll be interesting to see. SoC means system on chip, so it means that the CPU pretty much handles everything. It doesn't need external controllers to manage how it does everything. So, for example, the Ryzen 3rd gen chips, because they're system on chips, they have the PCI controllers built into them. They have the memory controllers built into them. So as long as you provide them with, data and with power, they can pretty much handle everything itself. The A320 chipset was barely a chipset. It was basically just a PCIe bridge to let everything connect in. So yeah. I have desktop audio set to capture this. I'll be modulating the volume, so if the volume's too quiet from AMD side, or if it's too loud, feel free to let me know in the chat, and I will modify it. As soon as the stream starts. As soon as. I'm gonna do the tactical refresh and see if it's nope, not yet. Okay, we gotta wait. Not long. 2 times 5 core in each complex. Yeah, it's kind of unlikely. It's possible, but the way that their chips are designed, it is kind of unlikely. Yeah, it's a premiere, so it's a pre-recorded video, but still, watching it live, because why not? A YouTube premiere means that it is a pre-recorded video that is being made public. Come on. There we go. Right, how's that for audio? I feel like that might be a little on the loud side. It's loud in my ears. I'm gonna turn it down here, and then turn it up here. How about that? How's that doing? Too loud? I'm gonna have to wait for the corrections to come in. Sounds good now. Cool. Couldn't hear you. Awesome. I hope that's alright. It's quite loud in my ears, but yeah. Turn it a little bit more. Cool. 46 seconds to go. Genuinely excited. Could be interesting. I ordered a curry for this. Nice. Pure buzzing, man. I bought my Ryzen 7 3800X a month ago. Hope I don't regret it too much. It'll be alright. I expect it will be a reasonable leap, but not, game changing, I think. And here we go. Scary statement. Would, may, expects, believes, plans, intends, projects. Magic.
We started Zen from scratch, starting with a clean sheet of paper.
Zen turned out to be a grounds-up design, which doesn't come along very often.
In the life of an engineer, you get to build something this significant once, twice, if you're lucky, 3 times in your lifetime. AMD enables the engineers to go off and innovate and to bring to market what it is that they dream about.
I'm extremely pleased to show you for the first time the name of our new CPU.
So this is the history.
Now it's time for you to see Ryzen in action. We wanted to disrupt the PC market. We wanted to bring innovation, choice, and performance to as many people as possible. In high-performance PCs, it was about delivering more performance at every single price point.
The Ryzen Threadripper acknowledges that there are people who want to create and game on the same PC and need the scalability and need the performance to do that. And that's what's really exciting about the Threadripper chip.
It was our commitment to our customers that we would deliver to the roadmap that we set out, and momentum is now on our side.
The anticipation around 3rd Gen Ryzen is really impressive. Meet the world's first 16-core gaming processor.
Now, in 2019, 3rd Gen Ryzen did.
What we did in Zen was push well beyond what we thought we could do. It makes me so proud to be able to look back and say that I was part of that.
Our mission with Ryzen has always been clear. It's about making the right bets 3 to 5 years in advance and making sure that they come to fruition. Our goal is to give you the best.
I'm liking this music. Very dramatic.
Welcome, everyone. Big welcome to all of you, and thank you all for joining us today. I've been looking forward to this moment all year, and I know many of you have too. It's been a challenging year for everyone as we've navigated the COVID-19 pandemic globally. But one thing we've learned is just how important high-performance computing technologies really are. From work, to school, to gaming, to entertainment, the PC is now the computing platform of choice in 2020. And I'm really excited to show you today what we have been working on for the next-gen PC platforms, and especially for all of you gamers. Now, it's already been an incredible year for gamers. There's so much excitement around the next-gen consoles. We are so proud to power the new Sony PlayStation 5 with a high-performance custom chip featuring our AMD Ryzen CPU and AMD Radeon GPU technology.
Well, you can check off
and
the
we are
consoles.
equally proud that custom AMD processors also powered the new Microsoft Xbox Series X and Series S consoles, again, featuring our high-performance Ryzen and Radeon technologies. These consoles are bringing just incredible technology to gamers all over the world and are really a result of just deep engineering partnerships over many, many years with both Sony and Microsoft. Now, gaming is at the heart of so much of what we do at AMD. Whether you're talking about PCs or consoles or cloud gaming and mobile. AMD loves gaming, and we like to say gaming begins with AMD. So today, we're going to talk specifically about our next-gen PC gaming platform. So let's talk a little bit about Ryzen. Now, you guys know we brought the first generation of Ryzen to market in 2017, and we actually had one goal. It was to build the best PC desktop processor possible. Now, we knew we wouldn't get there in one step, but with each generation of Ryzen, it's gotten better. And we focused on how do we deliver more performance? How do we deliver the best features? And how do we give more capabilities to all of you PC enthusiasts so that you can do more than you ever thought with your desktop or in your notebook? And we've made great, great progress. We started with Ryzen in desktops, and then we introduced Ryzen Threadripper in high-end desktops. And now, actually, Ryzen is in many amazing notebook systems with our Ryzen 4000 series. I think it's safe to say that AMD loves the PC, and I think also it's safe to say that PC users love Ryzen. So we really appreciate that. Now look, let's just focus on the desktop for a few minutes. The progress we have made over the last few years has been really amazing. If you look at the market before Ryzen, the desktop PC was on sort of an incremental performance slope for the last many years.
Shots
Now, over
fired.
the past 3 years, we've significantly changed that trajectory and really completely reset expectations as we've gone from 1st gen Ryzen to 2nd gen, now to 3rd gen Ryzen. We were the first to launch a 7nm desktop processor, and today, 3rd gen Ryzen leads in so many areas. We're the highest in multi-threaded performance. We are the best in terms of power efficiency, and 3rd gen Ryzen is an absolutely great gaming processor. But as you know, we're really ambitious. So our work with Ryzen is never done. Our engineers have been on this maniacal focus of what can we do more? What can we do better? So today, we're here to talk about our brand new CPU core. You've all been waiting for it. It's all about Zen 3. And with Zen 3, we focused again on bringing the best to the PC market. I'm so proud of what we've accomplished. Zen 3 increases our lead in overall performance. It increases our lead in power efficiency. And also now, it delivers the best single-threaded performance and gaming performance as well. We've made massive changes in the core architecture, and I'm sure all of you want to know what's inside Zen 3. So let me hand it over to AMD CTO Mark Papermaster to give you all the details. Mark?
Papermaster, paper launch?
Well, thank you, Lisa. I couldn't be more excited than to share a little bit more about Zen 3 and our progression to get here. It's been quite a journey. We set a course over 5 years ago to design a family of high-performance x86 CPUs. Our goal, very simply, outright leadership. We set up the team so that development of multiple processor generations could be done in parallel, with designers leapfrogging from one generation to another. This has resulted in consistent delivery to the market as promised. I could not be more proud than to help unveil our 3rd generation of Zen Core debuting in Ryzen desktops this fall. It is a beast in performance and will deliver absolute leadership in the x86 market. Zen brought us back into high performance with a 52% improvement in instruction per clock in a single generation. It built a strong base for us to build upon as we developed the Zen family. Last year, Zen 2 brought double-digit % increase in instruction per clock and debuted 7nm in chiplet technology. That 7nm efficiency enabled leadership, multi-core performance, and core density. The innovative chiplet implementation allowed us ease of manufacturing with the small 7nm die and scalability to leadership core counts. And now Zen 3. Wow, what a great job by the design team to improve every aspect of the CPU, delivering leadership performance in that same 7nm node. Higher frequency, higher instruction per clock, with design improvements across all of the CPU components, and lower latency on top of that. You look at some of the key elements. There's a new layout of our processor that brings all the cores onto a unified 8-core complex. And that accelerates core-to-core communication. That's especially helpful for gaming workloads. That consolidation actually allows every core to directly access the 32 megabytes of L3 cache. And that dramatically accelerates workloads that are latency sensitive, like gaming. And finally, significant changes throughout the Zen 3 architecture, generating a 19% instruction per clock uplift. That's on top of the significant gains that we had just in the mid of last year with Zen 2.
Yeah, that's mad.
Altogether, Zen 3 is our most significant architectural update yet across the Zen family. We made the Zen 3 floating point and integer execution units wider, more flexible, and allows us to deliver more execution capability to the user at a lower latency. We've
lower
increased
latency
the
is
number of loads
really
and
key.
stores that we can do versus Zen 2, helping us feed those wider execution capabilities of Zen 3. We've added more branch prediction bandwidth. It allows Zen 3 to tackle back-to-back predictions much more quickly, reducing the delays. We call it zero bubble. These innovations keep Zen 3 ahead of the industry norm on generational improvements and position Zen 3-based Ryzen to be a clear desktop performance leader. Microprocessor performance engineering never has one single bullet. It takes focused microprocessor engineering. It's a broad set of improvements that are needed to make a great architecture. It takes innovation on all of the key levers. Zen 3 is a total front-to-back redesign. The microarchitecture had laser focus on performance on every element, end-to-end improvements, caching, load store, our execution units, our prefetching, our dispatch, our decode. Zen 2, in fact, had been organized with 2 4-core cache complexes, and it was tightly integrated. That was a very good design, but what we found is that we brought that together into that single unified cache core complex, that we brought that direct access to 32 megabytes of L3 cache rather than the 16 megabytes that we have with Zen 2. That direct access to a cache pool of this size is very significant for gaming. They tend to make frequent use, of course, of the memory subsystem, and in fact, many games have a dominant thread. And that makes especially heavy use of the cache, and that thread now sees effectively twice the L3 cache in Zen 3. So every core can now communicate directly to the cache without traversing across the die, and that reduces latency. And it stays synchronized for applications using AI, audio, physics, and more. You can see that we continue our relentless commitment to energy efficiency with every generation. We're always honing our design methodologies to focus on performance per watt, even as we make the processors faster for gamers. Zen 3 is no different, delivering up to 24% improvement in power efficiency versus the prior generation. That's double-digit performance per watt uplift in the same process node. And that's on top of all the architectural changes that we drove in to drive up the performance. Our commitment to energy efficiency across time has put us in the driver's seat. Today, we're more than 2.8x more efficient than competing high-end desktop processors. And that's only a strengthening of the leadership that we demonstrated during the prior Zen 2 era. We will not let up going forward. We're focused on execution. Zen 3 is shipping as promised, and the 5-nanometer Zen 4 on track, in design. The AMD team is hitting on all cylinders, and there's no shortage of innovations for the next generation of Zen processors to keep AMD in the forefront and deliver the best compute experience for our customers. Thank you, and let me welcome back Lisa to now show off our Zen 3 and new Ryzen processors.
Thank you, Mark. That was great. I'm so proud of what the team has accomplished with Zen 3. We really focused on what is most important for gamers and enthusiasts. And at 19% IPC increase, it's our largest increase generation over generation since we launched the Zen family. So now let's see Zen 3 in action. I'm so proud to show you for the very first time the AMD Ryzen 5000 series for high-performance PCs, the world's first Zen 3 powered CPU. This is the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X. 12 cores, 24 threads, and a boost up to 4.8 gigahertz. It's a very special product, the ultimate enthusiast processor. Compared to the 3900 XT, the 5900X has 19% higher IPC, higher clock speeds, and all of the Zen 3 core improvements that Mark talked about, all while remaining at 105 watts. This makes Ryzen 5900X a big upgrade from 3rd gen Ryzen all around, but especially in gaming. Now let me turn it over to Robert Halleck to show you the 5900X in action.
What I was saying was, I don't expect these
Thanks,
to ship
Lisa. Hey everyone, let me
until
give you a
end
sense
of October, start of
just
November,
how
probably.
much faster the 5900X is compared to our current best, the 3900 XT. To do that, we're going to use Shadow of the Tomb Raider, a game I personally love, and a game reviewers often look at to judge CPU performance. We're going to run the built-in benchmark here at 1080p using the high image quality preset on two otherwise identical systems. You can see a whopping
Wait for independent benchmarks.
28% increase just by moving from the 39XT to the 5900X in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And as you will soon see, the performance from the 5900X is faster than the competing processors as well. Now, as any enthusiast knows, 28% from a processor change is a massive upgrade. But that's what AMD customers like me can look forward to. This truly demonstrates the gaming strength for Zen 3 when you combine the historic IPC uplift, unified cores, and unified cache pools. Now, as we zoom out to look at a wider set of games, you can see that the 28% uplift in Shadow of the Tomb Raider is joined by many titles with significant double-digit performance improvements.
On there.
The gains are even bigger in titles like CS:GO and League of Legends, where the highest possible frame rate is practically the #1 priority to be competitive. Overall, gamers upgrading from the Ryzen 3000 series to the Ryzen 5000 series can expect an average performance improvement of 26% at 1080p. Again, this is just a monumental performance jump for an in-socket upgrade in the same motherboard, and a true testament for how good Zen 3 is in gaming. Now, as many know, strong gaming performance relies on strong single-core performance.
I wonder if
That's
they
exactly
used their own
what Zen 3
GPUs for
has.
this test.
And I want to show you using Cinebench R20 single-thread. There are many ways to assess single-thread performance, but Cinebench is a fast and easy tool that you can run at home. And it's one of the 25
Brandon.
workloads that we used to calculate the 19% improvement for Zen 3's instructions per cycle. As you can see, the 5900X is the first desktop processor to ever break a 600 score. And we don't break it by a little, we break it by a lot with a score of 631.
Okay, that's
We at
mad.
AMD heard you loud and clear as you challenged us to continue investing in single-core performance, and the results speak for themselves. The combination of IPC, frequency, cores, and cache give AMD the fastest cores in the desktop market and give you the best possible gaming performance. So let's take that landmark core performance into a head-to-head battle. Across the same set of games you just saw, the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X is a clear winner at 1080p. As I promised you, AMD wins in Shadow of the Tomb Raider by +6, and is joined by many other games popular with reviewers and users like you.
The 1080K
League of Legends
gets
and CS:GO are once
496
again
by
standout
comparison.
victories for the Ryzen 9 5900X. So that was a lot of data very quickly. Let's take a step back. Let's recap. You saw an average uplift of 26% for Ryzen customers upgrading from the 3000 series to the 5000 series. You just watched AMD deliver
Real
the highest
benchmarks.
single-core performance in the entire desktop PC market. And you just saw AMD clearly offer the best performance of any gaming processor on the market.
AMD tries
will
to be
put it
more
plainly.
honest.
We know that you're going to wait for benchmarks, but customers who buy processors purely for their gaming performance will absolutely want a Ryzen 9 5900X for the best possible PC gaming experience. Now let's bring Lisa back up to give you more details on these awesome gaming processors.
Well, that was fun.
Thanks, Robert. That was fantastic. I hope you're all now convinced that the Ryzen 9 5900X is the best gaming processor in the world. Now let's look at the stack.
Not yet, Andreas.
In the 5000 series, we have a great choice for every gamer or PC enthusiast. In addition to the 5900X, we have the 5800X, an 8-core, 16-thread processor with boost frequencies up to 4.7 gigahertz at 105 watts. And we also have the 5600X, a 6-core, 12-thread CPU with boost frequencies up to 4.6 gigahertz at 65 watts. Now let's talk about price and availability. The 6-core 5600X is $299. The 8-core 5800X is $449, and the amazing 5900X, combining the leadership performance and power efficiency of Zen 3 in a 12-core 7nm design, is priced at $549. And
What
all
would
of
you
these
get?
will be available globally on November 5th. We're
Ooh.
really proud of the 5000 series, but you know we're not done. We love our enthusiasts, and there's one more processor in our stack, which is the ultimate processor for gaming and content creation. For those of you who want the very best processor in a desktop PC, we have the 16-core Ryzen 9 5950X. The 5950X is simply an amazing CPU.
4.9, oh.
16 cores, 32 threads, and our fastest processor with boost frequencies up to 4.9 gigahertz.
Not much more cache than the
The
5900.
5950X breaks the Cinebench R20 single-threaded record that Robert set just a few minutes ago with a score of 640. It is truly the best in class in every dimension.
Oh.
Best gaming performance meets best processor for content creation, and all of this still at 105 watts. Now let's take a look at some of the performance.
Yeah,
If
but
we
it's
look at the
72.
generational uplift from the 3950X to
cores.
the 5950X, we see up to 27% more performance in CAD workloads and 12% more performance in rendering workloads. More impressively, we see up to 29% more gaming performance. And this is really how we bring the best of both worlds together. The best for gamers and the best for creators. And now, if you put 5950X against the top of the stack from the competition, we see that the 5950X provides up to 59% more creative performance in rendering workloads, double-digit wins in video editing and software compiling, and we also win in lightly threaded CAD workloads as well. We're really proud of the fact that we also win in gaming. There's nothing like the 5950X in the world. One processor that delivers the best power efficiency, our highest clock speeds, the highest single-core performance in the industry, and the highest multi-core performance of any gaming processor. And it's priced at $799 and will also be available globally on November 5th. I hope you're now as excited about AMD Ryzen 5000 series as I am. Zen 3 is really amazing, and I'm so happy we could show it to you today. But you guys send me a lot of notes and a lot of tweets, and I know that you're not just excited about Ryzen 5000 series, but there's a tremendous amount of enthusiasm and curiosity about our Radeon lineup as well. So the next few weeks are just an amazing time for us. In addition to introducing our Ryzen 5000 series, we're also going to introduce our next-gen Radeon GPU, and I want to give you a small preview of that today. This is the AMD Radeon RX 6000 series, which we now affectionately call Big Navi, thanks to many of you who nicknamed it for us. It is absolutely gorgeous and by far the most powerful gaming GPU we have ever built. We got a lot of requests from our fans on social, and I heard a whole conversation on The Full Nerd last week about wanting to see Zen 3 and Big Navi in action. So today, I'm going to show you a preview of what you can expect from AMD Ryzen 9 5900X and our Radeon 6000 series. We've been doing a tremendous amount of work optimizing gameplay with Ryzen 5000 and Radeon 6000 series. So let me show you today Borderlands 3, which is a very popular AAA title running at 4K resolution on the Ryzen 5900X and our Radeon 6000 series. Just take a look at that performance. Over 60 frames per second at 4K with beautiful image quality. We are super excited with what we've accomplished with Big Navi. In addition to Borderlands 3, here's a bit more of a performance preview on Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Gears of War 5 at ultra settings in 4K. And again, what you see is tremendous 4K performance across the board. We still have a few weeks until launch, and the team is working really hard on fine-tuning things. But I hope you're as excited as we are about what Ryzen 5000 series and Radeon 6000 series can do together for your next-generation PC. So that brings us to the end. I hope you enjoyed today. It's been so much fun spending time with you. We have a lot more to show you later this month, so join us again on October 28th, where we'll give you the full story of our AMD Radeon RX 6000 series, and make sure you mark your calendar for November 5th to find Ryzen 5000 series on shelf worldwide. Take care and see you soon.
Right, so here's the thing. That graphics card performance sounds great, 88 FPS and Warzone at 4K, but I've literally just finished testing an Asus 3080 with a 3900X, and that was getting 103 FPS at 4K. So it's 3070, at least it looks like anyway. Let's have a look back. So the main things here were
Scalability.
the core design change to be a non-CCX based, or don't have the core split apart. That's the big thing. And then the other one is having that extra performance, especially the single-threaded performance, which I would argue the fact that they only showed performance numbers with the 5950 compared to the 10100K, that makes me think that the 3900 or the 5900X and the lower tier chips won't quite match. Like, I think they'll probably be pretty similar, but I'm not sure that in straight up gaming performance they will, it will be as fast or faster than a 10100K. It'd be very good to see, and obviously they can claim the world's fastest gaming CPU now. Of course, Intel does have some time to launch some new stuff. Probably not overly soon, but they can hold the crown for a while. So yeah, I think on the gaming side of things, I think it's going to be a decent upgrade. Although if you have a 3000 series chip, I don't think that it's going to be such a big upgrade that it will be worth jumping ship immediately, launch day. But if you have a 1000 or even a 2000 series chip, I think it could be a good jump up from that point. So what did everybody think? We've got some questions in the chat that I will do my best to answer. So first of all, thank you to the two people who were super chatting, Brandon and Alan. Thank you very much. And then, so pricing wise, it was what, 449 for the 8 core and 549 for the 12 core, and then what was the other one? 300 or 299 for the 6 core, the Ryzen 5. There we go. Oh no, that's the thing. Where's the pricing one? There you go. So yeah, 549, 449, and 229. I'm sure that in pounds or euros that will be pretty similar numbers. It almost always is. So it will be probably around 500, 520, 530 pounds, 400, 420, 430 pounds, and about 200, probably 280 pounds, and probably very similar numbers in euros. What were the boost clocks in the lower end parts? The boost clock on the 5600, its max is 4.6. That's probably not all core, that's probably single core. So all core, it's probably 4.4, maybe 4.5 on the 5 core, the 6 core, sorry. The best place in the UK to buy a good value pre-built. I am biased, but I have an affiliate link to them, which is Overclocks UK. I think it should be linked in the description, so you can check that out. The release date of these is November 5th. That is when they'll be available. I'm not sure if there's going to be pre-orders before then, or if it's going to be, all hands on deck and you just try and get one. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, so no one's paying $449 for an 8-core when a 3700X is $270. That is likely true, except quite a lot of people will be paying that. So yeah, I think the main difference is that a lot of people A, want the latest, and B, the performance difference, if you're not gaming at 1440p, could be more drastic and could be more worth it. But it kind of depends on people's builds. I would agree that getting a 3rd gen might be a better shout for value for money, but yeah. I'll buy a Ryzen 5 3600. Yep, that's fair. I can't wait to set auto bids to eBay on eBay to 100k for the scalpers. Nice. Yeah, it will be interesting to see how the industry manages bots scraping all of the pre-orders and stuff. Hopefully we won't have that again, but let's face it, it's quite likely. I don't think much will have changed in 2 weeks or whatever it is. So yeah. The premiere has ended. Yes, we're chatting about what's new on these chips. will 3rd gen CPUs still be in stock? I assume that they're not manufacturing anymore as of this point. I assume that whatever's in stock will probably be it, but we'll see. These will work on B550. Yep, they will work out of the box on B550, X570, and they should have some boards will have a BIOS update for B450 boards to support that too. Will there be benchmarks released before November 5th? It's probably unlikely, although there is a chance that there will be a review embargo lifting, say the day before, for example. That has been known to happen, but it's also quite possible that it's going to be the same day, same time. Do you think there's going to be a 5700X? Yes, I expect there will be. I expect that there will be non-X variants, and there will be lower end versions like a 5600 non-X as well as a 5700X, that kind of thing. But I suspect that we're probably going to wait until Q1 of 2021 before we see that. A lot of people saying they are too expensive. It does look more expensive than previously, for sure. I think they're probably expanding their lead a little bit, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the 5600X can do in terms of comparing to Intel and an Intel chip at that sort of price point. That will be interesting to see. Which processor are you looking forward to testing? The higher end ones are awesome, and I do enjoy having those available to test, but honestly the 5600X is going to be the value proposition that most people are going to be looking at, and so that's normally the most interesting one to test out. The 10600K is cheaper. I think it might be. Let me I suppose let's go on Newegg. Their pricing tends to be fairly stable compared to Amazon's. What are we looking for? A 10600K. Yeah, it's the same RRP, but it's currently selling for $280, so it is a little bit cheaper than a 5600X. Sadly, I don't have a 10600K, but it'd be very interesting to test one against that. So I might have to buy one and deal with it. Do you know when YouTubers are allowed to do benchmarks? As I don't currently. My expectation is that it will be either on the 5th or probably the 4th of November. I'm hoping for, but it's unlikely that it's going to be it's going to be way earlier than the launch day. At those prices, I'm actually not regretting buying the 3800X. I think that's probably the point. I think that's probably why they're pricing it higher than they maybe have before, to not disenfranchise the more recent buyers. I know quite a lot of people who have bought 3rd gen Ryzen pretty recently, and who are fairly happy with it, but are also probably now a little on edge of whether they should upgrade or not. 4.9 gigahertz. I bet they tried for weeks to hit 5. Oh, I'm sure they did. But I think the thing with 4.9 is that I'm sure that the right chip, the right motherboard, and the right cooling solution, you could stably hit 5, fairly happily. AMD should have changed the product naming a 5600X and a 5600XT GPU. I mean, they did XT for the last gen, right? So there would be potential there for a 5600XT and a 5600XT graphics card. Like, my God, AMD, why did you do that? Oh, yeah, be interesting. Have we got a release? I assume that's release date. Yes, the 5th of 5th of November. Yeah, I think it will probably be 530 is my expectation there. That would be what I'd expect. $100 more for the 5600 compared to the 3600. Yeah, that sounds kind of about right. I mean, that's potentially you're looking at current pricing versus launch, but I could be wrong on launch because I haven't looked. Well, it's been a year. what was the launch? So the launch price, I think, was about 250 or 249.99 for the 3600X. So it's $50 up from last year, or the last gen. Did they say if it was sold with a cooler? They didn't. Although, if they continue the trend, I expect that it will be. I wouldn't expect it to not be sold with a cooler. Can't wait to see can't wait for the 28th to see the new graphics cards. Me too. I'm excited. It's probably not like from the performance that we saw. I took a look at my benchmarks of a 3080, and I was getting 104 FPS in COD at 4K on ultra settings. There's potential for COD doesn't have like a preset setting. It's just a series of options, all that have different options in them. So it could be that there's a performance difference there, but bearing in mind that that is with the new CPUs. Although, yeah, they could be debating. Yeah, that they are known to do that, but from what I've seen, it looks like that AMD card will be sitting with between the 3070 and the 3080, and then I'm sure that NVIDIA will come out with a 3070 Ti or 3070 Super or something like that. Yeah. Oh, no worries, man. I am very used to being called a Brit, also being called a Scot. Sorry, did you? Oh, you did. I am Scottish. Yes. I didn't see your other one. Yeah, I'm Scottish, but you can call me whatever you like. I've been called a lot worse. Thank you very much. How much do you think a potential 5600 non-X would cost? If I had to guess, $250. That would probably sit right, which would then mean that it matches last gen, the last gen launch numbers. That would be where it sits at. At very least, the 5600X and the 5700X will hopefully be bundled with a cooler. Yeah, my expectation is that these 3 chips will be. If they do XT variants later, they probably won't be. And the non-X ones definitely will, but with lower end coolers by comparison. Just like they did last year. What motherboard do you recommend? What kind of motherboard do you recommend? Now this Zen 3 is out for first time PC builder. A B550 motherboard is your safest bet because it will work. Probably it might need a BIOS upgrade to work with these. That is a potential concern, but it's expected that these will work with B550 pretty much immediately, and then from there, we'll see new chips or whatever. It won't. Cool. So if it works out of the box, you will still, want a BIOS upgrade because it's very likely that there will be security and performance benefits to going with a newer BIOS that does directly support these chips. But yeah, going with a B550 board is the safest bet you've got, and it's also the safest value for money proposition for these new chips. What about B450? Great question. Some of those boards will get apparently irreversible BIOS upgrades to support these new chips, which is fine, but you will have to have a older, so second or third gen Ryzen CPU to do that upgrade. And you will need, while you will get a better value proposition, it's unlikely that PCI Gen 4 support will magically happen, although technically B550, there's nothing special about those boards to allow PCI Gen 4, it's a software thing. But anyway, point is that B450, you will need a BIOS upgrade, and you will need an existing Ryzen CPU before you can put the new one in. So keep that in mind. Whereas if you have, if you're buying completely from scratch, a B550 board is the better option right this second. I don't think that there is any new motherboards coming out as far as I'm aware. Can a B450? I use the 5600 XT. So I assume you mean 5600X, or are you talking about the graphics card? Jesus, AMD, why did you do this? No worries, F7. I'll catch you later. The 5600X versus the 3700X. So you'll get better gaming performance with the 5600X, but you'll get better multi-threaded performance with 3700X. And as long as it's not MSI, probably best if you've seen both my issues with them and the other controversy just this week. Should I prefer B550 with BIOS flashback? Zen 3 won't be my first CPU. So B550, as long as you get a B550 board, if it has BIOS flashback or not, it doesn't. That shouldn't be a problem. As far as I'm aware, these new chips should work out of the box. You will want a BIOS upgrade, or you will want to do a BIOS upgrade, but that's not. Having BIOS flashback isn't something that I would be too concerned about specifically. It's also not something that I've actually used in the 100 or so motherboards that I either have here or have reviewed in the past to much success. So, yeah. What about X470? As far as I'm aware, no support. Thanks, Foggy. Ryzen 3 expectations. So I think you're probably going to be waiting until Q1 of next year, so January, February, March, before we see any whispers of that. I think these 3 chips will be all we'll get this year, and then they'll do another launch, January or February, that kind of thing. Is X570 good? It is good, but it's not what I would generally recommend for most people. It's sort of, I guess, overkill and technically older now. So B5, the B series chipset is where pretty much everybody, heads to. Ryzen, on Twitch, that is true. I do indeed. It's mostly because there's only ever 1 or 2 people on Twitch, whereas there is currently 266 watching on YouTube. When will we be able to pre-order these new chips? I think that the answer to that is probably, as far as I'm aware, AMD hasn't done pre-orders in the past. I could be wrong, but I seem to remember it's just launch day comes, you can buy one, and that's it. So that will be, if they keep doing that trend, that will be the same. Is there a PCIe lane count difference between B550 and X570? Yes and no. B550 has the same number of lanes, but the 4 that go to the chipsets are PCIe Gen 3, which means anything that connects to the chipset is running over PCIe Gen 3, including any extra M.2 slots, any add-in cards you've got, or any other connected devices, and all of that is sharing that PCIe Gen 3 bandwidth, whereas with X570, it's PCIe Gen 4 to the chipset, which means you do have more bandwidth available to it, whether you want to run 2 Gen 4 SSDs or something like that. But for the vast majority of people, it really doesn't matter. The top M.2 slot still runs at PCIe Gen 4 directly to the CPU. The top X16 slot for your graphics cards, that's still PCIe Gen 4. It's only the link to the chipset that's Gen 3. If you had a 10900K 5.3 gigahertz chip in your right hand and a 5950X in your left hand, which would you hand to your significant other? So I'm gonna assume that hand to your significant other is so that I keep the one that I don't give away. And the answer is that I would keep the 5950X because I'm a video editor. I edit all the videos that you see on this channel and my car channel as well on a literally daily basis. So me having more cores is more better. And so for me, that's where I would head. Yes, it's a nice bonus that it has some more gaming performance. I game at 1440p, so I don't really care that much. But yeah, that would be that. Yeah, exactly, Jinx. That's the solution that we're all looking for here. Now, if I was looking to build a gaming-only system, the 5600X looks to be an interesting shout. I need to know what the gaming performance is for that in the real world, not from AMD's benchmarks. And so we have to wait and see, and how that compares to a 10600K. And also bear in mind that us enthusiasts, we will care more about, you know, like overclocking capability. Like the 10600K, you can overclock that thing to the moon and back, and so you get a lot of performance out of it. But the vast majority of people who are buying these chips, even the unlocked versions, are leaving them stock, and so it is important to, yeah, see how the performance handles by comparison in both scenarios. Rama, thank you very much. Do you think there'll be a Ryzen 3 Zen 3 Ryzen 7 chip that will occupy an 85 watt TDP slot? So yes, I suspect that the 5700 will be, it'll probably be a 95 watt, but similar. As for how dead do you think Intel is inside right now? Probably quite a lot. I think Intel probably has a response to this, but like AMD said in the stream, the video, these decisions, these architecture designs are 3 to 5 years old. AMD started working on Ryzen, what, 3 years, 5 years before we actually saw it in person. And so these architectures come and go. There is potential for obviously AMD to keep on this train, which we very much hope they do. But it's also there is a good potential that Intel will have, you know, when Ryzen, the first gen Ryzen or even second gen Ryzen came out, started developing a wholly new architecture. We still won't see that for another 1 to 3 years, depending on how long it takes them and their process nodes. So yeah, I think that they're probably looking to the future more than currently. I do hope that they drop their prices further. I had a look at USA pricing, and for the 10600K, it's only dropped by $20 from MSRP, so that's not an amazing drop. If it was more like 250 instead of the 280 that it is now, that would be a good drop. But I don't see that happening because Intel doesn't really do that much. Let me ask you straight off, is Ryzen 5000 overpriced in your opinion? Right now it's hard to tell. From what we've seen, it's probably a little. There is potential for it to be a lot if the real world performance, especially from the lower end 5600X chip, isn't, I suppose, all it's cracked up to be. But it's also potentially there is potential for it to be pretty much on the mark. I would like to see them be a little bit lower down in the stack with you know, the performance, the price here. More, even if it was 275 for that 5600X, I think that would be a better shout. But yeah, we'll take what we can get. Intel has to take their whipping just like AMD did and come back and make a better product. Very true. That is exactly what I hope they do. I really look forward to seeing what Intel has to offer. And as we keep saying, the more competition we have, whether it's CPUs, GPUs, or anything else, the better we as consumers get. So I'm really excited. This is a great time to be. Apologies. This is a great time to be a gamer, whether that's console gamers with the new PS5 and Xbox Series X, or whether that's for us PC gamers and these new chips, the new NVIDIA cards, and even the new AMD cards when they are announced at the end of the month. I think it's 28th. So yeah, very excited and great time to be a gamer, man. Which X570 motherboard would you recommend for the Ryzen 5800, 5900? It's been a while since I've looked at X570 boards. I have overall good experience with both ASRock and some Gigabyte boards. I currently run an X570 Master from Gigabyte, although the X570 Steel Legend from ASRock is fantastic. And there are a load of other good options as well. but I haven't checked out or used X570 beyond the one that's in my PC in a little while, so it's not as fresh for me. Any APUs? Sadly not, no. Don't forget that AMD will discount the current Ryzen 3000 series, so that's a good thing. Indeed, I'm really I'm looking forward to seeing what those discounts are. And yeah, it will be you know, a good what you call it? Good balance. Is stream dying Windows update? I don't think so. Let me check stream health. Oh no, YouTube is deciding that it's not healthy. I'm not dropping any frames on Streamlabs, so I'm putting this one on YouTube. How much is 449 USD in pounds? So it's probably, my guess is that it's going to be 430 or so pounds here in the UK. And the same goes with the 5900X. I suspect that will be 530 or so pounds in the UK. How much do you expect the prices to drop for the 3000 series CPUs? Probably not too much. It's probably going to be a like 5 or maybe 10% discount. It will be interesting to see if retailers do that for the what you call it for those chips, and maybe if it's different per chip, but yeah, we'll see. Apologies for the buffering. Apparently it's fine on my Twitch, but yeah, YouTube has failed me here, I'm afraid. I suppose those are the boards that I was talking about. For who is it? Yes, you. Those are the two boards. The Gigabyte OS Master and the ASRock Steel Legend. Is this going on AM4? Yes. Yeah, it will do. It will drop into X570 and B550 boards.